Hi, we've gotten lots of feedback with the great new changes that we put into build 3.401 of WISH, and for the most part these comments are very, very positive. However, we've also fielded quite a few calls from many of our users who are commenting or a little bit confused by the way that the client lookup screen has changed for this version, and there's a good reason for it. So I thought I'd take you through those changes and explain in detail what those changes are and why they were made. So I'm just going to log in here to the program, and the premise of the whole comment that we've gotten back from people has to do with this screen here, which is where you can select clients. And based on the feedback we've gotten, it seems that many of you will pick a filter such as you only want to see the clients who are currently in shelter, and you would move from one to the other. So I might move from this person and then I'd want to go to the next person in shelter. So I would click again on my lookup button and it would pop back up. In this build, what's happened is in this spot here, the in shelter selection has reverted again to all, and again I see all my clients. So to see the in shelter, I have to return and click on the in shelter button to reapply that filter. That is a change in build 3.401 that many of our users are confused about. So let me just talk about the reasons why we made that change. So in the past versions, whatever filter you selected here, whether it's in shelter, not in shelter, or if you selected a program up in here, it would always remember that choice that you had made. As of build 3.401, we changed that behavior. So when you re-engage the lookup screen, it will always go back to clients to show all. And there's some good reasons for that. First of all, if you were using a filter such as registered in program and you only wanted to see the people who are registered in an outreach program, for example, on most systems where the data is located on a file server and where perhaps the list of clients is very, very large, the loading up of this screen with this filter applied would actually take some time. I mean, it could take as much as 20 or 30 seconds. So if we were to use that and pick a client and then want to click and go back here, if that filter was still engaged, it would take another 20 or 30 seconds to load. So that was a little bit problematic. So we wanted to get rid of that. That's why one of the reasons why in build 3.401, when you recall up the lookup list, it is now always going to return to all, so that loads very, very quickly. The other reason we changed that behavior is if you do something like this. So let's say I'm looking at my clients in shelter and I want to call up Francine Lebrun here, who's one of my clients in shelter. And then let's say I change that, so I look up somebody directly with their number. I'm going to look up client 1002, who's Kim Thompson. Kim doesn't happen to be in shelter right now. One of the requests that many of you had and we took care of in build 3.401 was when you click on the lookup button now, it will go exactly to the client that you have selected. So when I click up here, it will go to Kim Thompson. Now, if we had continued to show you only the clients who are in shelter, it wouldn't have been possible to go to Kim Thompson because she doesn't happen to be in shelter right now. So there were two reasons we had to change that behavior. One is for the speed of loading the screens, and also to accommodate the very good request from many of you that when you call up this list, you want to land on the client that you currently have loaded on that screen. So that brings about the point is, how do you work with clients who are in shelter? What's the fastest way to do that? And I'm going to show that to you. So rather than relying on the lookup list here to keep going back and forth to your clients in shelter, which you can still do, but it's going to take that one extra keystroke, I find a better way to call up clients who are in shelter are actually by going to miscellaneous entry screens and then pulling down on the view shelter by day. And what that will do is it will show you the clients who are currently in shelter on today's date. And you can simply click on their tile right here and it will load their workbook. Once again, now I can go back, view shelter by day, and I can pick on the next person I want to do. And the same is true on that screen with children. So now you can go back, view shelter by day, and if I want to look up Billy Smith, I click on that, and that opens Billy's child workbook automatically. So the change that we made, a lot of people thought we had made a mistake and thought it was a bug. It isn't a bug, it's a change in behavior. It was done on purpose, and those were the reasons why. And I hope I've also shown you a better way to work with your clients who are currently in shelter. Thanks very much for your feedback, and I hope you found this informative.